I remember the bad days were in the brick of winter in sub-zero temperature running the stadium steps. Those were not fun days.
I'm still amazed nobody slipped on those icy steps and blew their knee out or something.
Hey, here we are. We're back on the show. We've got our good friend John Teasdale, hopefully a longtime friend of the show that we can bring back and keep coming here. We both know him from going to school. He's out in Kansas City and does some really great work working with AltCap, this new charity venture that he's working with that helps small businesses in lots of different ways, but especially now dealing with COVID-19 and coronavirus. So we are looking forward to talking to you about all the different ways that you guys are working with small businesses. We've had some doctors, we've had some, who else we had? We had some athletes, we've had some board members, businessmen. You'll be our first one dealing with kind of the small business aspect of the situation and the business aspect, which is really interesting. So we're really excited to have you on here. Tell us who you are and tell us a little about yourself, and we'll dive in.
Yeah, my name is John Teasdale. I'm fund development and business development at an organization in the greater Kansas City metropolitan area called AltCap. We are a community development financial institution, so kind of fill a pretty unique gap when it comes to deploying capital to a wide variety of priority audiences and demographics.
Very cool. So what kind of stuff are you guys out there doing? What kind of work are you normally dealing with out there? What kind of, how are you working with these small businesses, generally before talking about the pandemic time?
Yeah, before the pandemic hit, we are a micro lender and a small business lender. So we specialize in kind of more startup type funding. About 80% of our loans are towards minority owned, women owned, and veteran owned businesses who statistically face more barriers when it comes to gaining capital to get their business dreams off the ground.
All right, cool. And how do you guys go about like identifying the different businesses? Is there a process to find these? Or are you guys out there looking for them? Are they looking for you? What's that process like?
More often than not, they are referred to us because they usually have gone to a bank. And for a variety of reasons, usually it's either collateral, personal credit, or just duration in business isn't long enough. The traditional financial institutions aren't able to be a resource in that instance, so they come to us.
Very cool.
John, what are some of like your recent success stories before this unfortunate situation?
We have a number. We're really good in restaurant and hospitality area. There's a smoothie business owner kind of in, Matt would recognize the Troost corridor, which in Kansas City is kind of the traditional dividing line in terms of economic opportunities. And one of our borrowers opened his first shop there, and about 6 months ago he actually opened in a Whole Foods, which is also new to Kansas City. So that was a pretty big time win for us, and for certainly for Chris is his name.
And what's your vetting process in terms of once they're brought to you, how you identify, how you're able to clear the funds, and how you're able to really transition them into being a successful business?
It's somewhat similar to a traditional bank small business loan, which is good for two reasons. One, it helps us to title the loan and to provide terms that are good and fair, and that the borrower, the business owner, has a very good shot of paying back. And then secondly, a lot of the documentation, things like bank statements, tax returns, forms of ID, business plan, these are things that once in a couple of years, when the business has good credit history and is a good lending opportunity for a traditional bank, they've already gone through the exercise and are comfortable with it.
Awesome.
That's really cool. That's great. And so then how are you guys being affected by the pandemic? How is that affecting your business and the different charitable work you're doing out there?
A lot of our borrowers who we have lent to are struggling, like a lot of the small businesses throughout the country, and if not the world.
Right.
One thing we've really been able to respond quickly because of our status as a community development financial institution, we were able to go out and raise private money for a COVID relief fund. And we have been able to deploy almost $1 million in about 5 weeks, which that equates to all the loans we generated in 2019 as a calendar year. We have done that in the last less than a month and a half. And the vast majority are new borrowers for us who basically just needed some capital to provide some breathing room until things return.
So this is like existing businesses that needed an inflow of cash?
Yeah, we've seen all kinds of. I talked to a gentleman last week who his company has been in business 40 years, and just as he's in the arts business, and none of his corporate clients and things like that are needing artwork for their space because they're all closed down. So he's struggling. We've talked to people who operate corporate cleaning companies, and obviously they don't have the business need because all the companies are shut down. Transportation services, who again rely on people traveling to and from the airports. So it's a wide variety of all different types of business owners who are trying to make it, trying to keep their employees on staff. And it's hard to do with no revenue coming in other than some kind of relief fund, whether it's from us or another entity.
Right.
And now your model is, are you guys unique in your area, or are you, is your model based in other areas, other states as well?
Yeah, there's a community development financial institution in every state and most major metropolitan cities. AltCap is it for the Kansas City, Missouri area. But about 20 years ago, Congress passed this legislation establishing CDFIs, is what we call ourselves, to deploy Treasury Department money to serve as a catalyst for investment in low to moderate income areas, to kind of be the first mover to get businesses and create jobs in low to moderate income census tracts.
And do you operate intrastate to figure out what other areas are doing as a model for what you guys are doing, or do you operate independently?
We're independent, but we are friends with and partner with a lot of other CDFIs. There are different conferences that we go to. For example, one thing I've been working on, this doesn't have to do with the COVID, but capital for veteran entrepreneurs is another major hurdle. And we've been picking the brains from some of our sister organizations out on the West Coast who have very large populations of veterans to figure out how we can be more of a resource to the veterans in the Kansas City area. So we pick their brains a lot, and likewise they do for us. AltCap is kind of one of the examples. I don't want to be too boastful, but for the quick response for COVID relief and getting those funds into the accounts of business owners is something we've been fortunate enough to kind of lead the charge on.
Oh, that's definitely something to boast about. That's very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. And is there somewhere we can kind of drive our audience to contribute? What would be the way that we could be active in helping out your cause?
Yeah, thank you. We do have a 501c3, a sister agency who's affiliated with AltCap called Community Capital Fund.
Okay.
And they invest in also grassroots organizations, neighborhood associations, and things like that. And we can accept donations through the Community Capital Fund to AltCap, but all the information is at our website, alt-cap.org, altcap.org, and all of our information is on our website.
Awesome. You had mentioned that you guys were kind of, tell me and stop me if I'm wrong, and we can get it explained properly, but there was like a local fund kind of that was for local businesses that you guys have started, right? And have already contributed $1 million out of a fund to go towards local businesses, which I think when you look at kind of what the government's been doing with what the CARES Act and with like, was it PPE or PPP, the paycheck
PPP
protection,
and EIDL.
right? Like, I mean, we're hearing all these stories about the bigger corporations depleting the fund before you even get down to it. And I think it was even might've been something that I read on some of your guys' info about, the average request was around in like the $25,000 for the small business needs was in like the $25,000 range.
Mm-hmm.
But the fund got depleted by all these big up to $10 million, large corporations that were able to somehow get priority.
And thankfully somebody was on that. So I saw a lot of them giving that money back, as they rightly should.
Very, very true.
Yeah.
But very true. And that's great to see companies doing the right thing. But it sounds like even, it's pretty thoughtful of you guys to be ensuring that the money gets into those small business hands by kind of starting your own community fund. I think that's a really cool thing to kind of point out and to highlight, that more people need to do.
Yeah, we were fortunate to have some of the large local foundations in the Kansas City area, especially those focused on entrepreneurship and small businesses, as well as several of our banking partners were generous enough to contribute to the fund. I think we're more or less about 3 million raised. Our goal is 5 million.
Wow.
But yeah, we've been able to turn 1 million of that right back into the community. So these small businesses can stay open, people can stay employed, at least for a couple months. After that, who knows? But
right.
We're just hoping that our funds can help provide some breathing room and some certainty during a pretty difficult business environment.
It's like the Bob Davey offense, just a couple first downs if you can get them. Jim Colettis is calling the plays, though, so you're not going. You're not getting big.
Jerry's triple option, Arnaz triple option. Bomb it deep to Bobby Brown if you have to.
One thing I'm curious about along these lines, though, is like, so you guys are giving loans, small businesses are getting loans from other lenders. To what extent are like viable businesses going to be really, demanded after this is all over because they're having to take these loans and that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's
actually, are these viable businesses going to be back to being as, just like they were before, or are they going to really be put in a more difficult situation or higher prices, or what implications do you see?
Yeah, it's a very good question. It's kind of tough to predict the future that far out. I do know what we've really been seeing, the running theme is just a lot of innovation by our borrowers, especially those in retail and hospitality. I'm sure you guys have heard about a lot of the businesses, especially restaurants doing curbside, doing delivery. I spoke to a gentleman today who was running a retail barbecue operation, and just the day-to-day business of doing the takeout, because the costs went so much higher with the to-go packages, plastic utensils.
Yes.
Those aren't sunk costs like hardware and silverware where you can just wash them and put them back into the business. So what he is doing is he just came into a 1-acre plot. He's going to open a farmer's market in a kind of low to and he's already invested a fair amount of money, but he just needs funds to scale that farmer's market up while he scales his retail space down. So we're seeing a lot of creativity, a lot of good use of a small amount of funds, so that people can sustain themselves, for the next 6, 12 months and beyond.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, I really believe in, individuals' ability to solve problems if they're just given the space to, and the support from people like you. It's fantastic.
Thanks. They are great people, good business owners. They're working hard. We're just hoping to kind of be a small part of their story and their success.
That's awesome. Right. John, so this is not your first charitable endeavor either. You've been doing this for a long time. You're a vet of all different kinds of backing, big causes. And so what else, from your opinion, can people do locally to help out in a situation like this? Or anything specific that comes to mind to help your local community?
Yeah, I think just in general, supporting your neighborhood businesses, your local businesses, whether it's carry out, In my neighborhood right now, we are in the midst of a standard Midwest spring, so it is gorgeous for a few days, then it rains, then we get a storm, so we have a lot of tree limbs down. So I'm seeing a lot of the tree limb company people and lawn care are much more of a local flavor than some of the big brands. So that's really, I think, probably the main thing that we're encouraging at AltCap is to support your local business owners as much as possible.
Awesome.
Talking about
Backbone of
businesses.
America.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I don't know if I mentioned on the show yet, but I'm from Kansas City too, and John and I have eaten some amazing meals in Kansas City. I hope that you guys are protecting all of our key barbecue joints at the same time. Right? I must be able to return there and get you know, poor Russ and a Z-Man when this is all over.
Nice.
Absolutely. There's a few new spots too that have popped up right before COVID hit. They're really good, so we're really trying to prop them up.
Oh man, all right.
With the little business that you know, me being a single guy can provide. But
what places are those? Are you want to mention them?
One is not so new, but he's a past grand champion of the American Royal here in Kansas City, so it's a big deal. Called Flaps in downtown KCK, which is excellent. Everything he makes is good.
Nice.
Then there's a few other spots that just opened also up and down the Truce corridor, which are really good as well.
Nice.
Yeah, we hope they make it.
Oh man, I could talk about KC barbecue for like a whole other show for a whole night. And anytime anybody wants to talk about that, you can hit me up. But let's move over to Notre Dame. That's what kind of the basis of the show is. Let's talk Notre Dame a little bit. We always like to ask stories. We're going to try to be telling stories as the show goes on. We don't always get to the telling stories when we've obviously got guests. We want to learn about the guests, but we'll do other segments where we're going to try to remember silly stuff and fun things from back in the day. And then hopefully have, you know, when we bring different guests on, they can help jog our memory and bring up some other fun stories. So
Please,
I want to ask a couple different ones. I want to ask like a favorite Notre Dame story that might come to mind, or anything that comes to mind, really. Also, you were a football player for a while. I want to ask if any football stories come to mind. I don't know. What do you anything that you're thinking about Notre Dame wise? What pops to mind?
I mean, one of my favorite memories was probably my sophomore year. I lived in Zom Hall, North Quad, also known as the Black Sheep.
Nice.
But I lived with our fullback, a great guy named Joey Goodspeed, and a basketball player named Todd Palmer, also from Jersey. Trevor, you remember Todd?
Palmer, yep.
Awesome guy. Both of them were great, but we had our window opened up to the roof of the chapel on the first floor. So we basically had a patio, and we were all huge fans of Shawshank Redemption. If you remember that scene, the suds on the roof. So we, especially in the nicer spring days, would kind of take advantage of that. I don't think we were supposed to be up there, but somehow we managed to find our way there on the nice afternoons.
We won't tell. That's awesome.
All the guys from St. Ed's and Keenan and Sanford would come over. It was pretty nice. Pretty good memory.
Nice. Got any football stories about Trevor from the early days?
Oh man, I remember he lit up our starting quarterback once in
Which quarterback? Sorry, I laughed over it. I think you said, and I laughed.
I forget. Was that Arnaz or was it Lavecchio?
No, I think it was Arnaz.
I think it was Arnaz. Yeah, Arnaz Battle, awesome option quarterback.
Yeah. And did he get in trouble for that? Or like get a little yelled and talking to, or was that all right at that time, or what?
I always tried to ignore when other guys got chewed out because it happened to me so often. So I don't remember the specifics of the retaliation on that one.
Yeah.
What's it like being a player? Oh, sorry, Trevor. Go ahead. You were about to say something.
My first retaliation. Remember Lamont Bryant?
Oh yeah.
First retaliation was first play. I blocked him a little bit. Second play, coach, chewed him out afterward. He came back and punched me in the head.
I think Melvin Dansby did that to me my freshman year when I was running the scout team. Yeah, he wasn't going nearly full speed, and I kind of got him, and he let me know that wasn't cool.
Was not happy.
No.
Nice. What's it like being a player on the team? I mean, you had mentioned getting yelled at a lot. You got to have some real thick skin to be out there studying and playing like that, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. To compete at that high of a level, both academically and athletically. I think all of us, see ourselves as a competitor. And once you're at that stage in your career, you're kind of used to being chewed out and coached up, and expect if you mess up, you're going to hear about it. That's how you become a better player. And knowing that there's constant improvement to be made all the time, and trying to be the best player you can so you can make the team better.
Right. And I mean, it's pretty obvious, but you find that translates at all into life these days, stuff you learn from the field, or not as much, or what?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of the kind of the life lessons that especially team sports treat you of kind of knowing your role on a team, doing good, being accountable, being there for your teammates, having their back, goal setting, overcoming adversity. I think just all those things, picking yourself up when you get knocked down. I think all those things are things that a lot of us go throughout our lives and our career. And I was fortunate to have an athletic experience that taught me that you're going to have some good days and hopefully have, or you're going to have some bad days and hopefully have a lot more good days.
Nice. Yeah, that's for sure.
I remember the bad days were in the brick of winter in sub-zero temperature running the stadium steps. Those were not fun days.
I'm still amazed nobody slipped on those icy steps and blew their knee out or something. I can't believe that. Wasn't that at like midnight?
Yes. It was bad. And I remember swirling winds, snow just brushing on the face, and just me questioning why I made that choice every step.
And then fast forward to the heat of the summer when we had to run those dunes off Lake Michigan, about 4 stories high, straight up in the air.
No bueno. No bueno.
That was tough. That was really hard. Yeah.
Sorry, I had a little guest appearance on my screen.
That's all right. It's all right.
That's cool. Yeah, a future domer right there, Matt.
Yeah, well, we'll see. They're going to be competing out here in LA for him for sure.
Nice.
But I don't know. He's only 3, but he already has a mind of his own. So who knows where he's going to want to go in the end. But hopefully somewhere cool like Notre Dame. That'd be amazing.
Look at this Robo Bello.
Oh, look at that Robo Bello. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I keep since we're obviously doing this from home, and we've got the different times of the day that we're all doing this. I always laugh when I think my wife Sarah was like, just if he runs in there, don't do what those guys did on the blooper reels where they just push them out of the way. Just deal with
right to
the that resonated with me, so I'll try to not be like, get out of here.
We got an editor, so we'll make it look better.
Nah, that's definitely one positive out of all this COVID stuff is the blooper reels of what goes on behind people on these things. Did you see or hear about the lady who carried her phone into the bathroom?
Oh,
yes. Yes, I did, on a business meeting or whatever. Right?
Oh, yeah, and she flushed the toilet. She thought it was on mute. It was not on mute.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no.
There's been a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
I mean, you're bound to have stuff like that happen with all everybody just getting stuck at home all the time. Who knows what's going to be exposed?
I wonder how many times in these meetings, I try to put it on mute and all my colleagues hear me screaming across the house, kids, shut up. Just said be quiet.
Oh, dude. I had one, that was last week. I was talking to a potential.
Let those gloves on.
Those gloves on. That's a good, good safety.
Fellas got some gloves on.
So I'm sitting there having a Zoom call with a potential borrower, people who own kind of a holistic shop in a neighborhood shopping center close to where I live. And I have my front door open so my dog can just sit on the front patio and people watch like she likes to do. Somehow a huge yellow jacket bumblebee It's into my house, is swirling around my head right
Oh,
here. I grabbed my laptop. I probably said, "Oh, the S word" or something. I felt bad for him because I had just started the call with them, and they probably thought, "Oh, these are terrible people. We're not going to pay them any money. They're not good business." And it was all because a yellow jacket got into my house.
and normally you leave the door closed, but we're in quarantine, so get some fresh air.
So I didn't tell you guys. On Friday, I was on a call with a couple of my colleagues, and I see my little guy, my 6-year-old, run in, sprint up the stairs, like kind of heard a whimper, and then my other son and daughter came in. They're like, "Nick broke the back windshield of your car." So he just learned to like step into or throw a baseball and get a little heat on it, and absolutely smashed the back window of my car.
Oh, man. Kid's got an arm on him.
So it had the tint on it, and it was shattered in like a million pieces. Like held in place by the tint.
Wow, what an arm for a 6-year-old. That's that's just that's seriously impressive.
Oh yeah,
Rookie of the year.
He was cool. I told him. I mean, his tab is a lot lower than his like older siblings, and all theirs is a hell of a lot like lower than my tab with my dad was. So they got a long way to go. They can break some stuff and get away with it probably.
That's a good point. It's a good point. John, I wanted to ask you a question. It was driving me crazy. I couldn't remember it. There's the old restaurant that your buddy was the chef that we used to be able to eat in the back of the kitchen. What was that restaurant?
The Savoy.
The Savoy. Is the Savoy still going strong?
Under new management and ownership. It
All
doesn't
right.
look like
Right.
the 1880s and 1890s anymore, unfortunately. They took down, remember all those old telegrams from the Prohibition days? All of them, they took them down. They made it modern.
Character.
That's sad because that place is like pretty old and classic, right? It's been around for a long time, if I remember right.
Just continually run business in Kansas City, 1885 or something.
And they're trying to contemporize it? Oh, come on. That place had so much character.
I know.
The Savoy. I couldn't remember the name of it. Thank you for reminding me of
great.
that. Those were the days. Kansas City is just the best. I used to go. My parents moved to Tennessee when I was a freshman in college, and I got an apartment in Kansas City my freshman year. Like they went to Tennessee, I went home to Kansas City. So I refused to adopt Tennessee. Nothing against Tennessee; it's a cool place, and I later on had some fun living there with our mutual friend D. Give. But no, I can't just talk about Kansas City forever. You got the Midwestern charm, you got good barbecue. It's one of those places that everybody's always like I went to Kansas City. It's like really amazing. Like they're like all like kind of surprised and embarrassed to say it or to admit it or something. But
you got a Super Bowl champion.
Super Bowl, and a couple of years ago we were World Series champs.
Yes.
Super Bowl champs. We got a lot going on. We got a new airport coming in, and I always hear that too. Yeah, about $1 billion airport. It's slowed down, obviously, but that's pretty excited. But
cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff going on in KC,
and that'll be good too for jobs coming in. Coming out of this, getting people to work and helping out.
Absolutely, yeah. We have a lot of young people moving to the downtown area. Which when Matt and I were growing up here, nobody went to downtown Kansas City. Now you can't even get a parking spot. It's built up so well. So many young people, apartments. Yeah, it's definitely a city on the rise for sure.
That's cool. I usually had gone a handful, probably 2 to 5 times a year, over every year since I moved out of there in 98 or whatever. But since I've had my son, I've not been back. The last trip that I was there was for Game 7 of the World Series that we lost to the Giants.
Not to the Giants, to Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah,
He's
to Bumgarner.
I was at that game too. That was rough.
Oh, it was a great game to be a part of and to watch, but it was a sad way to leave Kansas City and have not returned yet. So I'm looking forward to my next trip.
You need to come back and see our new sports hero, a certain guy named Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, rolling with Mahomes.
He's pretty good.
Man. He could sling it.
He's the best. He does everything. He does everything right. He says the right stuff. He's just like got the good personality. I watched the Super Bowl again recently. There's no sports, so you got to go back and watch it. And and the way he gets away from people, and he has this like eyes behind his head kind of thing. Like there was there was a play in the mid to late third quarter, which it didn't even end up, I don't think, panning out to points, but it was just incredible to see him. Bosa is running behind him full speed. He starts he just starts running. You think the guy's I've seen that DN catch a quarterback 99 out of 100 times in that situation. Not only did he kick his feet up, and Bosa tripped. So I mean, Bosa probably would have caught him if he didn't trip. But Bosa trips, and then the full extension dive over the pylon for a first down on third down from it's just talk about hard work and dedication, and talk about D Gibb again. His favorite saying, "Hard work pays off." We're seeing it right there. Oh, I could talk about it forever. But let's make sure we drive the audience to your website. It's alt-cap.org, and we're gonna flash some graphics that will help delineate a little bit of info so we can tell people directly where to go. We really want them to show some support for the cause, especially the local community, but also, the community, the Notre Dame community. It would be great if we can shine some light on all these different causes and get people contributing across the country, and, show our support for our school and the people out there on the front line fighting for us. Before we head out, is there any questions that you have for us? Anything that we can answer on your end?
No, I appreciate you guys thinking of me and us and helping highlight what we do. And I agree. It's cool stuff that AltCap has going on. It's a thing that not a lot of people know exists in these community development institutions. So we appreciate you helping us tell our story.
Absolutely.
Very important. Yeah.
And then we have a segment that we're still kind of we're ironing out the details of how it works, but we just keep running with it. It's called Over Under, and we like to take a wager on different products that people are storing in their house. Everybody, we had the whole run on toilet paper, and I hear that we have a shortage of meat coming up pretty soon, which is a worrisome, especially from a Kansas City perspective.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
I think I was going to set
cows and pigs.
I was going to do an over-under on barbecue sauce, bottles of barbecue sauce in your house, and I'm going to say 3 as my over-under. Anybody want to bet?
I like 3. I like 3.
Oh, you're going to go
I got 2 in my house, so.
All right. Is it over-under?
Adam, do you want to guess?
Oh, I'm saying over.
Over. All right.
It would be
16-ounce bottles.
You mean it's Kansas City?
Yeah, exactly. You gotta
under a
specify.
pandemic, you got to have 20 saved up in the garage.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. No, I'm just trying to. My neighbor has started making his own barbecue sauce.
Oh.
Yeah, he's got a nice cherry one. He gave me a good marmalade one. Got Gates, Jack Stack LCs. Don't think I have Oklahoma Joe's. It's definitely 6 or 7.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, Matt, you know how good I'll put Gates sauce on a turkey sandwich for lunch.
Yeah.
I'll put it on toast.
I feel that.
Is that your top recommendation, Gates?
If you're just going straight sauce, that's good on anything. Gates and Sons.
All purpose.
It is so all purpose.
Nice.
I used to mix it into my hamburger meat.
Nice.
Oh yeah, so good. So versatile. I don't know. I can't pick a favorite. It's not fair. I'm sure you can't either. But they're so versatile. But I like to make I like to do a Jack Stack exterior with a Arthur Bryant center, and it's sometimes they intermingle. It's a little mix of the two.
I like it.
So like in your pulled pork, you have one for in the pulled pork and the other one put on top.
Yeah, you cook it the way you cook it, but then you dip it. So
Yeah.
this is for the dip. This is the dipping afterwards.
One for seasoning, one for post.
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever I go to Bryant's, the restaurant, I'll put the original Arthur Bryant's on the sandwich, and then as each bite goes, I'll dip on the rich and spicy. It's a nice mix. It's a nice mix.
Getting hungry.
Beautiful.
Oh, I know.
All right. Well, once
I need to
again,
somehow find a way to send you guys some care packages or something.
Yes.
that'd be
If you
great.
got some businesses out there that have some for stock, let us know.
That's a good idea. I think a couple of those smaller barbecue places, a few of our guys have been talking to them. So if I can get their stuff to you guys, I'll do that.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Definitely pitch in for the cause.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks, man. We really appreciate you coming on and joining us. It's been great talking to you. And hopefully maybe we can get you back on here down the road and see how get an update on progress and get some more stories, because God, there's a million I could keep talking about Kansas City, Notre Dame with you forever.
Yeah, well, and I was trying to think of the more PG version ones.
Yeah.
Once we both moved into Castle Point, I don't think we can tell
Yeah,
those stories.
no.
Unfortunately, I don't know that I remember like 95% of them or whatever, but
Great ones.
I don't know why that would be.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, thank you so much. Once again, let's go to alt-cap.org and help out the local Kansas City charity. It's been great having you on, and we look forward to talking soon.
Thank you for having me. Go Irish.
Appreciate you.
Go Irish.
Go Irish.